Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name's Trent. Welcome back to the channel Well-Done Tanks. Today we're going to get into the discussion on why I believe a sponge filter is actually the superior filter for your aquarium. So if we really get into it, there are so many different types of filtration methods you can use on your aquarium. I personally have used just about all of them. I have done where I have technically no filter and it's only the plants filtering out my tank. I've done things like sponge filters, I've done sumps, I've done canister filters, I've done hang on the back filters, I've done overhead sumps. So there's all types of filtration methods you can use for your aquarium, but what I believe is the most simple, cost-effective, but then just effective at filtering your aquarium is the simple sponge filter. So what I have here is the Coarse sponge filter from Aquarium Co-op. This has become probably my favorite sponge filter on the market, and there's a couple different reasons why. The number one reason, let's see if we get the camera to focus on it, is how coarse the sponge actually is. Now, why does that matter? Why does it matter how coarse this sponge is? Most of the really cheap sponge filters you can find online, well, they're all fairly cheap. The coarseness of the sponge is going to be really fine, which means it's going to clog up with junk a lot faster. Now, with the coarse sponge filter, you're going to get all the benefits of a sponge filter, but it's just going to take longer to clog, and you can actually filter out larger particles, and it's not going to clog your aquarium right away. Now, we can get into the color of this sponge filter. I really have never found an issue with green versus black versus clear, but I will say this much: after using these sponge filters in all of my tanks in the fish room, I have come to found that on this lift tube, I do not get as much calcium buildup, debris in there, algae buildup, and it's all based around because it is green. So there was some definite thought process put into this. Now, to clean a sponge filter, and this is another reason why I love these filters so much, this is completely reusable. This will never break down in your aquarium, or it's going to take longer than your aquarium lifespan, your life, to actually become inoperable or non-usable. To clean this, it's so simple. So you can actually break this apart right there at the top, keep your lift tube in the aquarium attached to your airline, and just slip this port. You can take this whole thing out, but then this slips off right there in the center. Now you have this free and clear. You can squeeze it out in tank water. I've even run these under the tap, which everyone's going to tell you should not do, but it's that easy to clean. Take it out, rinse it, squeeze it out, and slip it right back on there, and you're back in business. Now let's briefly go over how to set one of these up. On the very top of the sponge filter, you have this little, so with that little nipple on top will actually be where you're going to attach your airline to it. But you want to slip the lift tube over the airline, attach it to it, then you can plug all that back together and you are in business. I really like to run the Aquarium Co-op, my nano USB air pump with these, but currently here in the fish room I'm also running a larger air pump powering all the sponge filters in my tanks. So what's going to happen is air is going to be pumped down this lift tube, but you know air is going to then rise back up out of the water. It's going to create a vacuum in essence and just pull water in through the sponge and then push it back up out. And that's going to repeat that process. Is water is going to get pulled into your sponge. Focus. Here we go. Jeez. Water's going to get here. I'll have my face. Water's going to get pulled into your sponge here and go back up this lift tube. Over and over, filtering the water out of your aquarium is what's going to be doing. Now, to supercharge this, I wouldn't say supercharge. Some people don't like the noise a sponge filter can bring because it can be a rather large bubble output. So to change that, and this is one thing I really do like about this, take off that top center piece again. And if you'll notice on the other side, there's this same size nipple for your airline. Now what you're gonna do is you can take an air stone. Now this is, jeez, there we go, focus. This is the Never Clog air stone from Ziss that Aquarium Co-op does sell. Any air stone will do. I prefer these ones. They're really cheap. I haven't had any issues with them actually clogging or anything of that nature. I don't like the ceramic stones ones. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna attach that to that nipple with a piece of airline in between, and then you can actually run it all the way down in the body of this sponge filter. That way when water gets pulled in, water's gonna get pulled into the very bottom of the sponge and pull up to the top. So you can actually change where the water actually starts to get sucked in at. And what I've noticed is that a sponge filter with the Ziss air stone attached to it, the bubble output is much smaller, which creates a less noise as it pops on the surface. So you gotta think about that, right? A large bubble rises to the top of the tank, there's more air trapped in that bubble that's going to pop. A smaller bubble going to the top of the surface is gonna have less air, so it's gonna be a smaller pop, not as loud. Now these, I'm using here, I believe this is the medium sponge filter that Aquarium Co-op sells. I wanna say it's like $6-7. There will be a link down in the description below to these. Any sponge filter will really work to filter your tank. I've used the dual ones that I know Guppy Guru really likes. I know Barry Aquatics using some. Barry Aquatics really likes his box filters. I haven't played with those yet, but we're focusing on the sponge filter side. But this can be one of the most economical ways to filter a large fish room. Is you hook up a central air pump, put sponge filters in all your tanks, and you're set, you're good to go. You're not taking up numerous plugs, with hanging the back filters and that type of thing. But just how, I am always amazed at how good a filtration these actually do for their size. This is gonna handle your mechanical filtration, which means it's gonna pull out all the small particles in the water. It's gonna pull out large particles in the water. You're gonna get your biological filtration in here, which means that bacteria is gonna eat the ammonia. This has been one of the most effective filters I have ever used, and easily the most simple filter to set up. So guys, let me know down in the comment section below, what is your preferred method of filtration? Is it the sponge filter? Is it the box filter? Is it a hang-on back? Is it a canister? As we move forward with the fish room, building that, I do plan on making more videos based around other types of filtration, comparing it to the sponge, but really why I think this is one of the best filters you can use. So thank you for joining me, guys, and we will see you on the next one.